The Port of Chancay is really shaking things up for Peru's foreign policy, but it's not turning us
Mm-hmm.
into a new Singapore or anything.
Wait, really? I thought Chancay was going to be a game changer for Peru's global trade.
Well, it's important, but we need to be realistic. Peru
Right.
isn't becoming a key player in global commerce overnight.
But with record exports in 2023, doesn't that put us on the map?
Yeah, but sure, our exports hit $64 billion, which is huge for us, but that's only
Yeah.
like 6.8 days worth of US exports.
Wow. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Exactly. And compared to Brazil's 314 billion or Mexico's 170 billion, we're still a medium economy in the region.
So comparing Chancay to Singapore is a bit of a stretch?
Precisely. Singapore's port connects to over 600 ports in 120 countries, while
Right.
Chancay will link to Shanghai and maybe a few others in Asia.
But isn't that still significant?
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge deal for us, especially in terms
Yeah.
of our relations with China and other Asia Pacific countries.
So what's the real impact then?
Well, it's more about enhancing our foreign policy and economic reach.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving us a strategic advantage we've never had before.
How so?
Think about it. Peru has always been kind of geographically isolated from major trade
Yeah.
routes. Chansey changes that. It reinvents our geography.
That's interesting. So it's less about volume and more about position.
Exactly. It
Right.
positions us as a bridge between South America, the Asia Pacific, and the South Pacific.
But you mentioned earlier that we shouldn't expect it to revolutionize our industries. Why is that?
Well, because our exports are primarily raw materials, minerals, and fish meal make up over 90%
Oh, I
of
see.
what we send to Asia. China isn't going to buy our manufactured goods. They're the world's factory after all.
So the challenge is to diversify our exports?
Exactly. We need to boost agricultural exports, which are already growing,
Yeah.
and find ways to add value here at home.
But can't we leverage this new port to transform our economy?
It's complicated. It's more feasible to import components and tech from Asia to manufacture goods for our own and regional markets. It's like a reverse approach.
Right? I get it. But isn't there a risk of becoming too dependent on China?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But this strategic advantage should help us build diversified and autonomous relations, not just with China, but also with the US and the EU.
So Chancay is about strengthening our foreign policy stance?
Exactly. It's a material anchor that solidifies our relations with major global powers.
Mhm.
It gives us leverage we've lacked historically.
That's actually pretty exciting.
It is. And by redefining our Pacific relations, we can focus on both the Asia Pacific's economic aspects and the South Pacific's environmental agenda.
Right. So we're looking at a holistic approach to foreign relations here?
Exactly. Chansey allows us to be a pivot country between South America, the Asia Pacific, and the South Pacific.
Yeah.
It's a game changer in that sense.
Well, when you put it that way, Chancay's impact is pretty monumental, even if we're not becoming the next Singapore.
Precisely. It's all about perspective and realistic expectations.
Right. Thanks for breaking that down. It's exciting to see how this unfolds.
Absolutely. It's an interesting time for Peru's place in the world.
Yeah,